fables and sounds of the Nigerian stories. Àrọ́bá ní bàbá ìtàn. Bọ́mọdé ò bá tàn, á bá àrọ́bá. Nigerian Folktales. Once upon a time, there were 3 friends, Chinedu, Chidubem, and Chibuzo, who swore eternal friendship amongst themselves. Indeed, they remained friends for many years despite some challenges faced as they grew into men. One of the challenges they had faced as youths was their interest in women. There was a particular beautiful maiden in their village who piqued Chinedu and Chibuzo's interest, and they practically fought because of her. But when Chidubem intervened by telling them the damage their quarrel was doing to their friendship, they were somewhat pacified and they chose instead to let go of the object of attraction, as they both agreed that there are plenty of fish in the river. One day, these 3 men set out to hunt in the forest, for they were hunters. As they walked on for a bit, they saw a goblin running towards their direction as it shouted, "Oh, oh, oh." They were surprised, and so they stopped him to ask what it was that pursued him. He replied, telling them that it was death that pursued after him. They looked in the direction this creature was coming from and saw nothing. So they asked where death was. Then he replied as he pointed his finger,
"You see that tree? Right under that tree lies home,"
he said, and went his way. What really can scare a hunter in the forest? They wondered. They wondered how death would truly look like. Could death actually be seen in physical form? And so, these 3 friends decided to go and see for themselves what lay under the tree. When they got to the tree, they didn't see anyone except a bag that contained a lot of cowries. This came as a great surprise to them, for they wondered why the goblin would refer to a bag of cowries as death. They heard a cock crow from a nearby village and instantly became aware of their surroundings. They thought of what to do with the bag of cowries and decided they will come for it later that night when everywhere would have been dark, because if they were to take it that afternoon in broad daylight, people would think them to be thieves. Soon, they became hungry and needed to eat, for they had roamed the forest for hours on end. So they sent Chidubem to go buy for them food and a gourd of palm wine. After Chidubem left, Chinedu and Chibuzo began thinking about how splendid it would have been if it were only the two of them who had discovered the bag of cowries. How happy they would have felt. They thought of many things they could use the cowries for. The more they thought about it, the more they thought of how they could have it all for themselves. Alas, both men plotted the death of Chidubem on arrival. Chidubem, on his own part, along the way as he went to buy their food and palm wine, thought of how wonderful it would feel if it had been only him who had found the bag of cowries. The more he thought about it, the more he thought about how he could have it all for himself. Eventually, he decided to buy a deadly poison to put in the palm wine his friends would drink, so that as soon as they would eat their food and drink the palm wine, they would die in seconds. No sooner had Chidubem arrived than Chibuzo aimed a gun at him and shot him. Whilst he staggered, Chinedu also aimed his gun at Chidubem and shot him dead. Excited, these two murderers jubilated over the death of their friend as they sat down to feast on the food and palm wine he had bought for them. Shortly after they had eaten the food and drank the palm wine, they also died. Now, all three of them laid down dead. Of all the deaths that claim the lives of humans, that caused by greed for money is more than anyone could ever imagine. This was how the greed for money brought about the death of three friends. The end.